The Islamabad High Court has ordered that Imran Khan's sentence, which was awarded in the Toshakhana case, be suspended and that he be released on bail. An application was filed on behalf of Imran Khan under Section 426 of the Code of Criminal Procedure. And Section 426 states that pending an appeal, an appellate court may suspend a sentence and order that a convicted person be released on bail. The power of the court under Section 426 is a discretionary power, and in this case, the discretion was exercised in favor of Imran Khan. Now, the primary factor which has been relied upon by the Islamabad High Court in its written order is the duration of the sentence. And the Islamabad High Court has said that the sentence which was awarded to Imran Khan was a 3-year sentence, and under the law, a 3-year sentence is regarded as a short sentence. And where there's a short sentence, the discretion is exercised in favor of the applicant or the convicted person. So essentially, because the sentence awarded to Imran Khan was for a 3-year period, the discretion was exercised in his favor and the sentence was suspended. Now, various other arguments were also raised by Imran Khan's lawyers, including on limitation that the complaint was filed beyond the 120-day limitation period by the Election Commission, that the duly authorized representative of the Election Commission did not make the complaint, so essentially a maintainability objection. And certain due process points were also raised, that Imran Khan was not allowed to lead evidence and present defense witnesses, and this violated his right to a fair trial and due process. However, the Islamabad High Court said that at this stage it was considering a very limited point, and the point that it was considering was whether the sentence should be suspended. And for the purpose of deciding this limited point, it did not need to go into the other arguments at this stage, and the fact that the sentence was a short sentence was enough for it to be suspended. And various past precedents of the court were also cited where sentences of a similar duration were suspended. Now, a lot is being said about Section 426 and why this section exists in our legal framework, and why a person that's been convicted by a court and sentenced by a court should be released and have their sentence suspended. Now, at the heart of the jurisprudence on this area is the right to liberty, and that if a convicted person who has been sentenced spends time in jail and later it is found that they were wrongfully convicted, there's no way to compensate for them for the time that they spent incarcerated. So this section exists to preserve the right to liberty. And one of the reasons and one of the bases on which courts suspend sentences is a short duration of the sentence, as we've seen in this case. But other factors that the courts consider, as has been developed by the jurisprudence on this point, is that where there manifest defects in the decision of the trial courts. So where it is obvious on a first reading that there are defects in the decision and it's not likely that the conviction is going to stand at an appellate stage, the courts can also suspend a sentence. And the other factor that courts consider is where there's likely to be a delay between the trial court judgment and the determination of an appeal. So for instance, if an individual has been sentenced to 2 years in prison and an appeal takes 1.5 years or 1 year, they would have spent a large amount of the time that they were sentenced already in prison. And so effectively the appeal would be made redundant. So where there's likely to be a delay, the courts also are likely to suspend the sentence. And so at the heart of this issue lies the right to liberty, and in this case, because of the duration of the sentence, it was suspended by the Islamabad High Court. However, in this case, the Supreme Court also in one of its order observed that on the face of it, there were certain defects, and that the trial court decision convicting Imran Khan did, on the face of it, defy the order of the Islamabad High Court. And we saw the way that the trial was conducted, and it was conducted in undue haste. And a lot of due process and fair trial rights were compromised before the judgment was reserved and announced. And we're seeing and we're witnessing how the right to liberty is being compromised, and how the second an individual gets bail or is granted bail or ordered to be released by the courts, they're being rearrested. And the first thought that is coming into anybody's mind when an individual, and particularly somebody associated with politics or an activist, is arrested, the first thought that comes into anybody's mind when they're given bail or ordered to be released is, how is the state going to try and keep them behind bars, and how is the state going to try and sort of weaponize the law and the legal system. So Imran Khan's legal battles seem far from over, and we're witnessing how the law and the entire state machinery presently is being weaponized.